So the last little bit I want to talk to you about is a trailing effect. A lot of times people try to get the dog to feel good when instead we just have to get them to gather themselves. The emotion often trails the behavior. People put it in reverse. They want the emotion there and then they go after the behavior. Now, sometimes we can do that, but if the dog is very intense or it's had a lot of bad conditioning or a combination of both, you're not going to do it that way. It's going to be behavior first, emotion trails. I can give you an analogy as a cyclist. My heart rate trails the effort that I'm putting in. It's not the other way around. It's not that I'm cruising at an easy pace and then my heart rate shifts up 5 notches and then I say, wow, time to sprint. It's I'm cruising at an easy pace, I sprint, and then 15 to 30 seconds later, my heart rate trails. And then when I stop sprinting and I come down, again, later on, my heart rate trails. The physiological response trails the effort. The emotional response trails the behavior. And in Molly's case, when you're watching me work with her, what I'm doing is I'm teaching the dog a very useful, very serviceable skill that the owner does not possess. Watch me, focus on me, follow me, even in the presence of other dogs, even if. What I'm doing is I'm showing the dog how to behave. I'm showing the dog what we would like from it. I'm making it extremely rewarding. And then at the same time, I'm allowing her to discover, right? Self-motivation, self-discovery. We always come back to that. I'm allowing the dog to discover I can be in this state around other dogs. Before that, seeing another dog was a cue to go into a very elevated state. Now a week in, she thinks seeing another dog is not a big deal. So the emotional response trails the behavior that I've conditioned into the dog. And all the dogs that you're watching do nothing are showing you just that. Their emotional response around other dogs has drastically changed. Drastically. Without me having to say anything to the dog. If you want to understand this, you can condition an emotional response into a dog fairly easily. Pick up a leash. Those of you whose dogs love going for a walk, there's an emotional response to the leash in your hand. Start to walk towards your dog's crate. Those of you whose dogs hate going into a crate, there's an emotional response. Humans have it too. Going to my favorite restaurant. Oh boy, a day before, the day of, you're already planning what you're going to eat. You're salivating. As a kid, I was bullied wildly at a summer camp, and it was rough. I didn't know anyone there. The other kids were already in little cliques. I guess they had gone. Maybe they had siblings who had gone. I got picked on. The camp had water that smelled very sulfuric. To this day, if I smell sulfuric water, it takes me back to being a 6-year-old kid at summer camp. Simple as that. Conditioned emotional response. So your dogs that are emotionally triggered, you have to help them understand that they can be in a different emotional state. And how you get there, like I said, this is not a how-to video. This is a concept video. The how-to is going to change from dog to dog. The concept is get them to do something and then eventually get them to do nothing. And sometimes we can start with get them to do nothing, but again, it really varies from dog to dog. So I don't want to give you advice in a one-size-fits-all. I'm trying to just give you a concept that you can then carry into your training, or maybe even discuss with your trainer, or maybe your trainer's already discussing this with you. But it's for conversation, for knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the better you're going to be at training your dogs.